seem to have anything smaller.
A mummy?
No, really, there's no need.
Oh. Dad. Two, please. Thank you.
Tide of global feminism passed you by, then.
In that respect, I'm with Canute all the way.
I'm sorry. That was rude. Thank you for the programme.
Still to come after the latest news summary. It's 9 o'clock. BBC Radio Oxford News.
Morning. Stephen Parnell.
Why ain't he at school?
Why ain't you at work?
Shut up and give me breakfast.
July last year, died, following a stabbing incident at Farnley Prison where he was being held on remand. Parnell, who stood accused of the Lovers Lane killings, was arrested last August following one of the largest investigations ever undertaken by Thames Valley Police.
Okay. In a few moments, we're expecting a statement from Detective Chief Inspector Johnson, who headed the original investigation. At the present time,
Here we go. Chief
Inspector Johnson, just a few questions first. Just a couple.
Good morning, ladies and gents. I've only got a brief statement for you at this present time. There will, of course, be a full Home Office inquiry into the circumstances surrounding last night's incident. I can, however, confirm that Stephen Parnell Last night was involved at Farnley Prison in an altercation with another prisoner which resulted in Parnell's death. Well, obviously, we'd rather have seen Parnell stand trial, but as far as the Thames Valley Police is concerned, the case is now closed. All right, thank you, gents. That's it.
Morning, sir.
Lewis?
Didn't expect to see you back in for a few weeks yet.
A man can have enough of his own four walls. What's all that about?
Oh, it's Parnell, sir. We're not here. It's been all over.
Stephen Parnell.
Are you fit then, Bob?
Sir.
Johnson?
What are you doing in Morse? Thought the old man had you tucked up right in his end-of-term report.
What's this about Parnell?
Oh, nothing for you to worry about. I's to dot, T's to cross. When you're ready, Bob.
He found God, apparently, Parnell.
Don't they all? Still, it's a pity he didn't live long enough to be brought to justice.
Well, some would say he got off light. Pleased the eye for an eye brigade, anyway. Don't forget he butchered 5 innocent people.
Well, 4, sir, certainly, but...
5, all right? 5.
Well, Karen Anderson was different, surely.
We had this out at the time. Parnell put his hands up to all 5.
Well, given Johnson's interview technique, I'm surprised he didn't confess to the A6, the Julia Wallace, and the Whitechapel murders.
Well, Lewis was in on the interviews, Morse. You saying he'd stand for anything that wasn't above board, hmm? You've no idea what it was like here last summer. I mean, you only caught the tail end of it. You were off sunning yourself in Beirut.
Bayreuth.
Yes, well, everyone was down under suppress, the politicians, the chief constable, all of them screaming for a quick result.
Yes, sir.
If Johnson hadn't caught Parnell when he did, God knows how many more he might have killed.
I'm not disputing that.
Well, they did a good job, him and Lewis. I mean, nothing fancy, I grant you. No great leaps of the imagination. Just good old-fashioned honest coppering, sweat and spade work.
I'm rather keen to resume active duty myself.
Well, when you finish this report... Well, it's no good looking like that. We've got to move with the times. As far as the chief constable's concerned, he's seen the future. And it's resource optimization analysis.
2 months counting paper clips is hardly optimizing resources, sir. They never found her body, did they? Karen Anderson.
Do you know how deep Blenheim Great Lake is, Morse? We could drag it between now and doomsday and still not bring her up.
Well, why does it have to be Blenheim?
You know perfectly well a bag was found at Blenheim, along with a ticket for a pop concert there the evening she disappeared.
They also found a postcard, too, didn't they? I don't think...
What you think is neither here nor there, matey. Parnell confessed, and that's an end of it. I don't want you outside the tent on this, Morse. Understood?
Give us a receipt, darling. Be good. If you can't be good, call George.
£18, please.
Well, I think we've seen everything we need to, Governor. I'll take you up on that drink if it's still on offer. You joining us, Bob?
Not driving, sir, no.
Good man, my sergeant. Geordie lad.
Can I help?
He wanted me to know, to let it be known. Not the girl, he said. Not the last. Those were his words. I took from that he meant 4, that he'd killed 4. The 2 couples.
But we know he killed 5.
I see no reason for a dying man to make a false confession. Do you?
Hello again.
Hello. How did you enjoy the concert?
Oh, it was bearable, I suppose. Did you want anything in particular? Or are you just browsing?
Do you have anything on the pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood? Millet, specifically.
Millet, wait a moment.
This is something of a synchronism. Well, after our meeting last night, of all the bookshops in all of Oxford, Kismet, surely.
I doubt the Fates take great interest in the affairs of a simple shopkeeper.
Thank you.
Mr.
Morse.
It's quite expensive.
I couldn't borrow it, I suppose, could I? For a day or so?
On the strength of buying me a programme. This isn't the Bodleian. A day or so.
At most.
I just thought I should mention it.
Ah, well, you know what these godbothers are like, Bob. They want to believe we're all purer than the driven slush.
Yeah, all the same.
Look, it's done and dusted. You were there when Parnell coughed. Karen Anderson was a blonde. So was his other 2.
But, you know, Chief Inspector Morse always reckoned...
Look, I know where Morse is coming from. It was our collar, Bob. Yours and mine. That's what he can't handle.
No, I don't think he's, you know, means anything
You're
by
not in
it.
trouble.
He's just...
You're too loyal. He's held you back for years. You do all the legwork, he gets all the glory. Am I wrong?
I wouldn't put it like that.
Well, I would. Everyone down the Nick knows you should have made Inspector by now.
Yeah, you know.
Mr. Johnson, is that the I haven't charged anybody, Inspector.
Don't know why he bothers coming in at all.
Lewis?
Oh, you still here, sir? Thought you'd have been home long since.
Oh, no, I thought I'd call in at the Trout on the way back for a pint. I wondered if you...
I've just said I'll go to the Eagle with DCI Johnson.
Ah, well, another time. How did you get on at the prison?
Oh, all right. Yeah, pretty open and shut. Upset the wrong con once too often.
I see. I've been thinking, as you used to say, something doesn't add up. George Daly, the man who found Karen Anderson's overnight bag...
Let it go, sir. I know you don't believe Parnell killed him.
I know. You were there when he confessed. It's just... Ah. Well, I'm sure you're right.
Sir?
Yes, Liz.
Mr. Daly.
You were working at Blenheim when you found Karen's overnight bag.
I still work there.
Thank you. How did you come to find the bag?
He made a statement when he handed it in.
He knows that. Just found it driving into work. Lying under an edge by the road. Couldn't miss it.
No. But you had, hadn't you? You see, the last sighting we have of Karen Anderson is on the 24th of July, the day of the pop concert. And you didn't find her bag until the 30th, the day after her disappearance was announced on the local news.
So?
I just wondered how her bag could be lying about for 6 days without you or anyone else noticing it, if you couldn't miss it.
You think I'm lying?
Confused, perhaps, about when you found it.
Look, I told you. I found it on my way to work.
Then how could you have missed it for 6 days?
The case is closed, isn't it? That's what he said on the box, that copper I saw, Johnson. If he thought there was anything iffy, why hasn't him come round?
Yes, well, I'm sorry to trouble you. I just...
You just what? He doesn't know you're here, does he? Well, he will now, mate. I'm telling you.
What do you want?
Nothing, love's all right.
We're going out.
Where?
Fill the bloody car. Where do you think? Don't talk to her like that. You want this? Well, keep that shut.
What the hell did you think you were doing? What did I say to you only yesterday? And last night you go round and you question this what's his name?
George Daly, sir.
Daly, thank you, Johnson. And practically accuse him of murdering Karen Anderson.
I merely asked him. You've no right to merely ask him anything.
All right, Johnson. Now get this straight, Morse. The Parnell murders are not, were not, and never will be your case.
I didn't ask him about Stephen Parnell. You questioned him about Karen Anderson. Karen Anderson was not murdered by Stephen Parnell, sir. In a few days, Stephen Parnell will be buried and forgotten. I don't want the truth buried with it. The truth? Parnell murdered couples, sir. He struck after dark and left his victims at the scene of the crime. Karen Anderson was single. She came to Oxford on a day trip, alone. She disappeared in the middle of the afternoon, and her body has never been found.
God's sake, she's at the bottom of Blenheim Lane.
She's not in Blenheim. She never was. She's in Whiteham Woods. We should be searching.
Whiteham? All right. I've heard enough. Can't you get it into your head the case is closed? Parnell confessed.
He retracted his confession.
He what?
Parnell retracted his confession. His last words, as he lay dying, were to the prison chaplain. Not the last, not the girl. His words.
Is that true, Johnson? Strange. All right, we're on our way. A body's been found. Out at Blenheim.
about 10 o'clock. I opened up the gate, let the estate tractor in, and he followed it through.
Was that his usual time?
Well, honestly, you didn't expect to see him here at all today. I mean, by rights, he should have been over at Lonsdale.
Right, thanks. What's he doing here?
I'm assigning Morse investigating officer on this, Johnson.
What is this? Give a dog a bone week?
I want someone to give me the full picture, not just edited highlights.
So, you told him? Well, good old faithful Bob.
I prefer Robbie, actually, sir, to be honest. Or Sergeant Lewis.
I'm going out on a limb for you here, matey. Don't let me down.
I want to see all the material on Karen Anderson's murder.
Anderson? DCI Johnson won't like it.
If he'd done his job properly in the first place, we wouldn't be here now. You stopped looking. You were both set on Parnell, and you stopped looking.
OK. Deceased is one George Morris Daly, a gardener on the estate. He was seen arriving for work about 10 by the gateman and Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams was also the one who discovered his body. So let's have statements and parts from everybody on the grounds, all right?
What about them up at the house, Sarge?
Them up at the house. Constable Renton are away.
Holidays, is it?
Wilkie, Fairbridge, start looking into known associates.
Sarge.
Stranks, Clough, can you concentrate on vehicles seen coming onto and leaving the estate? Renton, you're on the weapon and the bullet. Right, it's now 1:30. Let's reconvene at the station, 5:30.
Lewis, didn't you put anyone on the gates? I'm sorry, madam. The gardens are closed today.
Due to ill health?
I beg your pardon?
Do you know where I might find a detective chief inspector? Looks like Mouse.
Morse. Detective Chief Inspector Morse.
Dr. Hobson, how do you do?
The pathologist?
Well, I haven't come to see the bouncy castle. He's been dead about 3 or 4 hours. Probably closer to 4.
Yes, we know it happened sometime between 10 and 11:15.
Oh, do you?
We have a witness who heard the shot, the gatekeeper.
Perhaps you'd prefer him to perform the post-mortem and I'll man the gates for the rest of the afternoon.
Death would have been instant, would it, Doctor?
Occurred instantaneously, Lewis, or was instantaneous, if you must. Coffee may be instant, death may not.
Yes, Sergeant, it would have been instant. Probably do best to concentrate your search for the bullet, what's left of it, in that general direction. The shell case, if he ejected it, will be over that way.
You're certain the shot came from that direction?
Yes. You can seek a second opinion from your gatekeeper, of course.
But he could have been spun round by the impact, couldn't he?
People drop when they are hit, Chief Inspector. They don't spin or fly through the air in slow motion. They drop. I should have the initial results for you from the PM by 5. Please don't be late.
Excuse me, Dr. Harding. There's a Chief Inspector Morse.
I'm Dr. Alan Harding, gentlemen. Bertha of Lonsdale. How do you do? How do you do? Do I,
I attended a concert here 2 nights ago.
Of course. You bought Claire's program. I'm sorry if my arrival put a dampeners on anything.
I was rather under the impression that you and she were...
Oh, good heavens. You thought that would amuse her. Claire's my sister-in-law. The only passion we share is for music. Daly would usually come by today, yes, but I'm afraid he was a law unto himself when it came to timekeeping.
So why did he keep him on?
Oh, he's a very good gardener. It's difficult to find people like that at the price a college can afford.
What exactly did he do here?
A bit of this, bit of that. Kept his lawns trimmed, odd spot of pruning. How did he,
He was shot.
I see. Look, this is rather difficult, but Mr. Daly's arrangement with us was, how shall I put it, freelance. He wasn't college staff in the strictest sense, do you see?
I'm not about to go running to the taxman, Dr. Hardy. You were aware he was working at Blenheim, then?
Yes, that's right. This is where we keep all the gardening things. If you want any further information, I'm sure my secretary will be able to oblige, but I'm afraid I must get back.
Yes, thank you for your time.
Why do you reckon he was at Blenheim, then, sir? Everyone else seems to be under the impression he should have been here.
As Dr. Harding says, George Daly was a law unto himself when it came to timekeeping.
Yeah, it isn't time, though, is it, sir? It's place. He shouldn't have been at Blenheim at all.
Hello.
It's Harding.
Good morning. I'm looking for some information on one of the estates I believe you act for. Whiteham Woods.
Oh, yes. And you are?
Morse. Detective Chief Inspector Morse.
Well, you've picked a good day for it, Chief Inspector. This is Dave Michaels, head forester at Whiteham. Dave, this is Chief Inspector Morse.
The wood was acquired by the university from Colonel Fennell, 2 Fs. He gifted it to him back in '42.
Is it open to the general public?
And if you want to walk on the land, you're supposed to have a permit. Not that many of the students bother with such formalities. It's a popular trysting place with the young.
What if we wanted to search it?
You'd need to apply to us in writing. What would you be searching for exactly?
I can't say at this time.
Well, Whiteham's a big place, Chief Inspector. Whatever you're looking for, if you're to make any headway, you'd need a guide.
Oh, yes, I was going to say, if you've an afternoon free, I'd be happy to take you round.
Right. That's a lot, sir. All the material relating to Karen Anderson.
I didn't realise there'd be this much.
Oh, DCI Johnson was quite methodical.
Methodical. Tell me, Lewis, what, in your infinite wisdom, did you and DCI Johnson make of this?
Look forward to seeing you here again, M. Well, it's just a postcard.
Just a postcard?
Well, it didn't figure in the Parnell investigation.
And this did?
No, it's personal effects from a bedsit in Swindon.
Now, what about these?
There's a hobby fan taking pictures, according to the landlady.
It was the landlady reported her missing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't her parents want anything?
Well, we never managed to trace any family. DCI Johnson said we should hold on to all this till after the trial, you know, in case anybody came forward. Most of it's statements from motorists.
Motorists?
Well, she went missing just after Parnell murdered his second couple. We set up spot checks on all roads leading to places popular with courting couples.
And this was the bag Daly found?
Landlady said she was wearing a neckerchief that colour when she set off, Roxford.
Oh, you'd better make a start.
I went through all this stuff at the time, sir. What is it I'm looking for exactly?
Something besides her bag that connects Karen Anderson to George Daly.
Landed the spade work again, Sergeant. Must seem like old times.
I was looking for David Michaels.
Oh, he's out in the woods. I'm Mrs. Michaels.
Do you have any idea when he might be back?
Oh, by dark. Can I give him a message?
Just say that Chief Inspector Morse came by.
He's not done anything wrong, has he?
No, nothing like that. No, I was wondering if a man called George Daly ever did any work out here.
What sort of work?
Gardening.
Gardening? Well, this is a wood.
Yes, it's just that it's possible that he may have done some casual work for the Forestry Commission.
Oh. Well, Dave's never mentioned him to me. Why don't you give him a ring? He'll be back tonight.
Yes, I'll do that. Thank you. It's very nice here.
Suits us.
Certainly got about a bit. Pictures here from all over the country.
But none of her?
Yeah, just this one. I also found these. They don't tie it directly to Daly, but they're dated. Camera burned the time on. As far as I can make out, she was up here twice at least in the 3 months leading up to her last visit. Maybe she had a boyfriend.
Then where are the pictures of him?
Perhaps he was camera shy.
How did you come to miss these the first time, given the methodical nature of DCI Johnson's investigation?
Well, we had Parnell.
This time device, whatever it is, you set it each time you take an exposure, is that it?
No, it's automatic.
Show me how it works.
On what?
On her camera.
Well, we never found the cameras. At the time, we thought that Parnell had probably squirreled it away somewhere.
Parnell didn't go in for souvenirs.
Well, it wasn't at the bedsit.
It wouldn't be. Look at the picture. She'd never have come up here and left it behind. Should have been with her. Her overnight bag. No wonder he was cagey.
That's it.
Where did your husband find Karen Anderson's overnight bag, Mrs. Daly?
There he said, Blenheim.
It wasn't the only thing he found, was it? There was a camera, wasn't there?
There weren't no name on it. Nothing to say it was anything to do with her. Just next to the bag. He thought, you know, finders keepers.
Was there any film in it?
He burned it. We promised Philip a camera for his birthday, see, but we were a bit short.
Burning it a bit extreme. Why didn't you just throw it away?
We had a coal grate there until last year.
You had a fire going in the middle of summer.
What do you want?
The truth. I'm trying to find out who murdered your husband, Mrs. Daly. He had the film developed.
Here. It's all right, Mum.
A boyfriend, do you think?
I thought you'd ruled out a boyfriend.
Only because there were no pictures of him.
So why didn't he come forward when she went missing?
Why, indeed, Lewis.
Do you think this is Oxford?
Oh, it's Oxford, all right. It's preceded chronologically by photographs of Merton, Wadham, and Lonsdale. But where? That's the thing.
Any others of him?
Yes. It would appear they went later that afternoon to some woods.
Blenheim, do you think?
I think Whiteham, Lewis. That's where her body is.
One bunch of trees is much the same as another, isn't it? Wouldn't we be better off looking for the house that belongs to this garden?
What we should be looking for, Lewis, is this man. Karen Anderson's murderer.
Good day.
Hey, come here, you. I've missed you. Oh, you've been baking. Smell it in your hair. You smell good enough to eat.
No, and you stink of sweat and powder.
Oh, I thought you liked that. Kath.
When you've washed up. A policeman came by. Moss.
Oh, him.
Oh, you know him?
Yeah, he stopped by the land registry yesterday. He wants to have a look over the woods. I said I'd take him round.
He was asking after a man called Daly.
Daly? Never heard of him. Now then, what else you been up to today then, besides baking?
Come in.
Forensic have got a partial print from the inside of Anderson's camera, sir. They're checking it against Philip and George Daly.
Right. And what about the bullet?
Not recovered yet. Morning, sir.
Shouldn't you be out at Blenheim?
Yes, sir.
Well, get to it, then.
Sir.
Had a blow-up done. Looks a bit odd.
In what way?
The houses, the roof line. Couldn't really see it on the 5x3s, but it looks like it's sort of bending in the middle.
Trick of the lens, maybe? Or... I mean, roofs don't bend.
But they do, sir, don't they? In Parktown.
So, which one is it?
One owned by a man with the initial M, perhaps.
Excuse me, mate. Local police.
Do you have to do this now? I have a patient waiting.
It'll not take a moment, Mr.
McBride.
What is it you do here, Mr. McBride?
I'm an osteopath.
All coming into its own now, isn't it, this alternative New Age medicine?
There's nothing New Age about osteopathy. It's one of the most ancient methods of healing known to man.
Yeah, of course. It's only now you're seeing it coming onto the box line.
How long have you lived in Parktown, Mr. McBride?
2 years.
Do you remember where you were on the 24th of July last?
I doubt it. Can you? If it was a weekday, I'd have been here treating my patients.
Did you ever know a young woman called Karen Anderson?
Doesn't ring a bell.
There's a photograph of her. It might help.
No, I'm sorry. Who is she?
What about this man?
I've never seen him before.
How about this one, Mr. McBride? Slightly better picture. That was taken here, in your garden, just after 2 o'clock on the 24th of July last, on Miss Anderson's camera. I'd say she stood about here. And you don't know either of them?
His name is Dr. James Myton. He had been a fairly long-term patient. You see, one gets to talking. Locker room stuff. You know what men are like. We discovered a mutual interest.
In what?
Photography. Taking pictures. Which is how we came to know Karen.
What sort of pictures are we talking about?
Glamour.
Pornography.
Erotica.
Semantics, Mr. McBride.
We weren't interested in anything smutty. Just lingerie. A bit of top-off work. We thought it'd be something of a wheeze to put together an advert for a model.
So Karen Anderson came to Oxford that Sunday for a photographic session at your house. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I didn't realise anything had happened until they'd arrested the Parnell.
Why didn't you come forward?
Well, you'd got him, hadn't you?
You and Myton decided discretion was the better part of valor.
No. The next session wasn't scheduled until the following month, by which time it had come out she'd been murdered. Dr. Myton and I haven't contacted each other since.
You still have the pictures you took?
No, when I heard what had happened, I got rid of them. It seemed ghoulish to keep them.
Was anyone else with you that afternoon, Mr. McBride? Besides Myton?
No. Like who?
Oh, good afternoon, madam. Detective Sergeant Lewis, Thames Valley.
Is it Jenny? You found something out?
No. No.
It's all right, Lynn. It's all right, darling.
It's the police, Alan. They've news.
No. It's a college matter. They've come to see me.
I thought...
No. I know, darling. I know.
I'm sorry, Alan.
That's all right. It's all right now. Why don't you make us some tea? Come in. Sorry about that.
Your wife's expecting a visit from the police, is it, sir?
My wife, I'm afraid, is always expecting a visit from the police, Sergeant. It's Jenny, you see. She was, our daughter. We lost her.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, knocked off her bike, coming down Cumnor Hill, hit and run. My wife, Lynn, well, you saw. Could we, I'm sorry, but can we talk about something else? I find it very difficult.
What time did you get into college yesterday morning?
What time did I? About midday.
And before that?
I went shopping with Claire, Mrs. Osborne. She helps me out with Lynn. I'm afraid I'm not very good with day-to-day things.
Did you know Mr. Daly outside of work, Dr. Harding?
No.
You're sure?
Town and gown, Chief Inspector, town and gown. Can't imagine we mixed in the same circles.
What about a young woman named Karen Anderson? Did you know her?
Whom?
What about this man?
Never seen him before.
You do know Second Crescent, though, in Parktown. Mr. Alistair McBride, he was treating you for sciatica. Can you help us with that, Dr. Harding?
No, that's fine, darling. That's fine. We'll help ourselves. Thank you. That was cheap.
I'm not interested in the rights and wrongs of a group of men taking glamour pictures, Dr. Harding. My concern lies with Karen Anderson's murder.
But she was murdered by Parnell, wasn't she?
Mr. McBride said you left Second Crescent that afternoon with Karen and this man. And Dr. Myton, where did he go?
Myton gave me a lift into town. They went on to the station, I suppose. Myton usually dropped her off.
They went to Whiteham Woods.
Whiteham, really? Well,
It's more than likely they'd been there before. Did you ever go with them?
No, never. Look, I'm not proud of what I did, but you can understand. With Lynn, I couldn't come forward.
The one thing Mr. McBride couldn't provide us with, Dr. Harding, was an address for the good Dr. Myton, but he thought you might know.
Do excuse the tenants. There are more onto themselves. Do you know what Dr. Myton was doing in Oxford? He was over from South Africa, undertaking some research at one of the colleges, I believe.
How long was his let?
Until Christmas.
He went back to South Africa?
In the August, yes. It's a furnished flat, as you can see.
He left 4 months before the end of his let. Did he leave a forwarding address?
No. Just paid all his bills up until the end of the year and went. Are you looking yourself? Property, that is.
No. No, no.
Sir? Ah, yes. The pictures. There are quite a number of them. We thought he might get in touch to have them sent on.
These are Dr. Myton's then?
Oh, yes, Lewis. They're Myton's.
You think M stands for Myton?
Don't you?
All right. But why Whiten Woods?
I look forward to seeing you here again. Where do you think here was?
Oxford, obviously.
Did any of you ever consider that what was on the front of the card was equally as important as what was on the back?
It's just a picture. The Woodman's Daughter by...
Millet, Lewis. It's pronounced Millet, one of the pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood.
So?
Unlike some, Millet was minutely accurate in his research. I had a feeling there was some specific Oxford connection to the Woodman's Daughter, so I got hold of a book on the pre-Raphaelites.
What's that got to do with here?
I quote, Mrs. Joanna Matthews, a friend of the artist, wrote in her diary of 1850 that Millet was hard at work painting the background of his picture from nature. In Whiten Woods.
Search them?
As soon as possible.
What's this? Just you, Lewis, and a metal detector, is it? Because there's no way the Chief Constable will wear an operation of this size.
I've thought of that, sir. I propose we draft in a contingent of specials.
Whitem's one hell of a ricochet for your Blenheim bullet, isn't it?
We're not looking for the bullet, sir. We are looking for Karen Anderson. If we find her body in Whiteham, we can discount Parnell's story about dumping her in Blenheim Lake once and for all.
This had better be about something besides you proving Johnson wrong, Morse, I'm telling you.
Karen Anderson came to Oxford to pose for pornographic pictures. After the session, James Myton, one of 3 men present, left to put her on the train home. We have photographs of him, taken in Whiteham later that afternoon, on Karen Anderson's camera.
Well, how does that fit in with Daly?
Rather than simply finding the bag, I think Daly saw Myton dump it.
What do you mean Daly was blackmailing him?
I believe so.
Well, he left it a bit late in the day to do something about it then, didn't he? I mean, the girl was killed a year ago. Why shoot Daly now?
Parnell's death would have left only Myton and Daly who knew the truth. Perhaps Daly got greedy and...
If I didn't know you better, I'd say you were busking.
I may not have all the answers yet, sir, but I'm close.
Well, you better be. The Chief Constable isn't happy with you sniffing around the Parnell case.
Meaning?
He wants to put Johnson back at the helm. You make a pills of this, I might not be able to stop him. What was it put you onto Whiteham in the first place?
A painting, sir.
A painting? Well, you better walk out of the woods with something more than just a shovel in your hand, matey, or you'll be the laughing stock of Thames Valley.
It won't be the first time.
No, but it might just be the last.
I was just looking up.
I came to return your book.
You might have told me you were a policeman.
I didn't want to put you off.
You didn't come to the bookshop by accident that first time, did you?
No.
Why, then?
To see you again.
Alan said you were clever.
Well.
He also said you were cheap.
Did he?
He probably meant shrewd. Words aren't Alan's strong suit. You've come to ask me if I was with him the day that wretched Daly fellow was shot.
Were you?
Yes. Alan's not really terribly practical, and with Lynn...
Must be difficult. For both of you. I'll let you get on.
Did you mean that? About wanting to see me again?
I would have, but... the wedding ring.
It's to ward off unwanted admirers.
Of which I am sure there are many.
But I'm not doing anything tonight.
I'm sorry, I can't. Early start.
Well.
But tomorrow.
So you think there's a lot of it we can discount, then?
And a fair bit you can't. She's been out here a year, you say? Shouldn't hold out too much hope. I think there'd be too much of her to find.
No, this is a chap called James Mighton. You sure you haven't seen him anywhere around the woods?
You done this a year ago? Killed this girl?
Yep.
Well, we've only been married 5 months. I mean, I shouldn't think he's been back, would you?
No, probably not. It's a nice place you got here. Peaceful.
Not for much longer, though.
I shouldn't think you'll even notice we're here.
Only a gun, Sergeant. Some of the tenants have shotgun rights. Out after rabbit and pigeon. Do you shoot?
No. Can't say I'm mad keen on guns. Got a nasty habit of going off.
Yeah, it's just a tool. Couldn't get my job done without them.
Is that right? I didn't see.
Oh, no, I keep them in the gun cabinet. Can't leave them lying about when there's kids around.
Kids?
Oh, yeah, Kath's, expecting.
Oh, congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, I thought I'd better start getting in good habits. No luck, then?
No, not yet.
Renton to base. Renton to base.
Moors.
Think you'd better come out, sir.
Not one of our designated search areas, sir. It was one of the dogs picked it up. Going spare, he was. Over this way.
It's a neckerchief, sir.
We found her, Lewis. We found her.
What am I supposed to do exactly?
Put it together, tell me how she died.
I shouldn't think there's 10% of the skeleton there. Animals will have dispersed the rest over a fairly wide area.
We'll start again at first light, see what else we can dig up.
It'll take some time.
I don't care how long it takes. Something happened here, Doctor. I need to know what. Better get on to the South African Embassy, see if he did go home last September. And the Met. Start circulating his picture. If Mighton killed Daly, he could still be in the country.
You think he's gone to London?
Sink pot of the Empire, Lewis. Good a place to start as any.
What about his car? I mean, if we could trace that.
Johnson set up some sort of road spot check, didn't he?
Yeah, but that was before we knew Karen Anderson had disappeared.
Well, that's my point. It's long odds, I know, but I wonder if Mighton could have been one of the drivers they stopped and questioned.
Oh, 1,000 stopped, eh?
You don't have to sort them out right away. Tomorrow morning we do.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
the last then?
Till tomorrow.
Hey, it'll be over soon.
The place will never be the same. They've ruined it.
New beginnings, Kath, eh? For all of us. Somewhere bigger. For the kid. Everything be fine. Come on.
Have you always been a policeman?
I suppose so.
You must be good at it. Chief Inspector, that's quite senior, isn't it?
6 ranks below Chief Constable.
Well.
And 3 above a beat officer. That's 1 rung up the ladder for every 10 years. Hardly a meteoric rise. There's talk of my rank being phased out altogether.
Phased out?
In an effort to streamline the service. When I joined, we spoke of victims and criminals. Now it's, well, everyone is a potential customer.
It can't be as bad as all that, surely.
Once upon a time, we solved crime with a brain and a notebook. These days, it's pie charts and laptops. The romance has gone.
Romance?
Can you see Holmes and Moriarty plunging over the Reichenbach Falls these days?
Yeah, but he was an amateur, though, wasn't he?
The fact remains, today, the area would be sealed off and surrounded by firearms officers while a hostage negotiator was sent for.
What will you do?
Go on to the end, like any dinosaur. And when I have outlived my usefulness, I will be phased out.
And then?
I've never thought about it. I'm not the retiring type. Shy, perhaps, but not retiring.
You still here, Sergeant Lewis?
In body, sir.
Well, I'd knock it off if I were you.
I'll give it another hour.
Where's Chief Inspector Moore?
Pursuing inquiries.
You mean he's in the pub?
No, sir. He's on the case.
All right. Good night, then, Sergeant.
Night, sir.
Thank you. It was a lovely evening.
Thank you. Perhaps,
Well, you've got my number. Good night.
Morning, Lewis. How are you getting on with the traffic spot checks?
Oh, a bit like cycling to Pluto, sir, to be honest. I've picked up a few said they were on their way out to Whiteham.
But not Myton?
No.
Hardly progress, is it? Well, I won't hold you up any further. I suppose the South African embassy slipped your mind, did it?
No. I was on to them first thing, actually. They're going to get back to me. Where will you be if anything comes through?
Blenheim. Why don't you meet me in Woodstock for lunch? You can appraise me of any developments then. Granted that Mr. Daly should have been at Lonsdale, Mr. Williams, would he normally have been here on a normal day at 10 o'clock?
No. George had a fancy for some bit of stuff down the garage he uses. Well, he'd stop off there on his way in, give her a bit of chat, like. We wouldn't see him here before 11 o'clock most days.
So that morning, he was early? Did you see this man here at all that day?
No, I don't remember seeing him on the grounds now.
Would you have noticed him at all if he had been here?
Well, he ain't staff, he ain't tenant. He'd have stuck out like a sore thumb.
Why is that?
Well, we don't open to the public till 11.
Morning, sir. Sorry to bother you. Do you know where I can get a hold of the rest of those Woodstock Road stop checks from the week of the 24th?
Place for everything, Sergeant.
Thanks.
This isn't white man's work.
Well, someone's got to do it.
Well, you're better than this, though. Listen, I hear through the Bush Telegraph that my superintendency's gone ahead, regional crime. I could use a good inspector.
Oh, well, thanks very much for the offer.
Don't make any snap decisions about it. I know you have loyalties, and that's highly commendable, but you owe it to yourself to consider it. I don't want to end your days a bitter old sweat, do you, Steve? I mean, think about it.
Well,
good man. Good man.
There you go.
Bit cloudy.
Is it?
Didn't you notice?
No. Do you want me to change it for you?
No. No, it's just the bottom of the barrel, I expect. Check, though, will you, next time?
I'll be sure to.
How are you getting on with your traffic reports?
I reckon I've done about 10%.
You're not on piecework, Lewis.
Well, it is just me going through them.
I appreciate that, but there is some urgency. We are looking for a murderer.
Maybe I should be getting back then.
You haven't finished your drink.
Oh, I've missed enough lunches on this case. One more won't count.
But it's your round.
That was my round.
Well, if you're going to quibble.
You just lose interest, don't you? Once it's cracked, once the puzzle's solved, you just sit back and leave all the tidying up to me.
It's called a division of labour, Lewis. I provide the brains.
And I'm left saddled with the donkey work, aye?
Well, after the Lord Mayor's show.
Oh, thanks very much.
No, I didn't mean it like that. I'm a detective, but I leave the policing to you. It's what you're good at. The details.
Sorry, Chief Inspector, but so far all that's arrived looks to be right foot, shoulder blade and left tibia.
There's nothing you can tell me from that.
Beyond that she probably took a size 6 shoe, no. I'm afraid I'm stuck till anything else arrives.
But you'll let me know as soon as.
Of course.
Of course.
Martin, I'm sorry, I'm running a bit behind. Just give me 5 minutes to pick up my bag and powder my nose. I'll be right with you.
Oh, no need to dress up. It's only the trout. I understand congratulations are in order. All from a postcard. Shame I won't be around much longer for you to crow over.
Leaving us?
Oh. Onward and upward, Morse. Transfer to regional crime.
Congratulations.
Yeah, if it's all the same with you, I'd rather you didn't sign my leaving card. We never did like one another. You may fool strange, but I see exactly what you are. The worst kind of bloody amateur.
I just got the breaks.
Don't play the white man with me, Morse.
All right. You made mistakes. Once you had Parnell and he confessed, you stopped looking. If anyone made a fool of you, it was him, not me.
Lewis, what are you doing here?
I've got something, sir.
A car stopped on the Whiteham Road on the 25th, the day after Karen Anderson disappeared.
Myton?
Oh, no, sir. Not Myton.
This is a surprise.
They said at Lonsdale he'd gone home. Is he here?
Chief Inspector.
I think you might prefer to talk to us in Mrs. Osborne's absence, Doctor.
What? Morse, what is it? What's wrong?
Dr. Harding?
This is ridiculous. I'm staying where I am.
I have no secrets from Claire.
As you wish. Myton didn't drop you off in the town on the 24th, did he? You went to Whiteham Woods with him and Karen Anderson.
What? No.
Don't lie to me, Dr. Harding.
You were stopped and questioned by the police on the Whiteham Road the 25th, the day after.
I was just on the road on my way
You told them you were on your way to Whiteham Woods. Why did you go back there? To bury Karen Anderson?
I'd hardly tell them I was going there if that was my intention.
Why did you go back?
You can't prove I went there.
I can prove you were one of McBride's camera club.
I said you were cheap.
But would you prefer Sergeant Lewis to caution you? Then we can continue at the station.
That won't be necessary. Myton didn't give me a lift. I followed him in my own car. I took some photographs and then I left. Myton made it pretty clear he wanted to be alone with her.
And what did you do?
I drove home. When I got back, I realized I'd lost one of my camera lenses. It was too dark to go back and look for it then, so I went back the next day, which is when I was stopped by the police.
It's true, Morse. He did go back. I went with him.
There's no record of you being in the car, Mrs. Osborne.
Well, that's an oversight on the part of the policeman that stopped us.
No, I'm afraid not. You see, if you had been in the car, and Dr. Harding would never have been stopped. We were only stopping men travelling alone.
Did you also lie about being with Dr. Harding on the morning George Daly was shot, Mrs. Osborne?
We went shopping.
Where? Which shops exactly? What did you buy? Did you pay by cash or credit card?
Stop it.
Where were you, Dr. Harding?
Where he's been every Tuesday since January. With her. At the Marlborough Hotel on the Woodstock Road.
Lynn.
It's all right. There had to be someone. If it hadn't been you, then it would have been a stranger. Poor Alan.
Well?
You'll find us in the register as Mr. and Mrs. Nash.
Well, I'm glad to see you observed the social niceties of adultery.
Don't dare presume to judge us. Have you any idea?
I'd like you to leave my house, Chief Inspector. You have no further business here.
We will check.
I'm sorry.
Yes. Someone is always sorry. I want to know what time they booked in, booked out, if they had room service.
Right. Sergeant Lewis? Yeah, it's for you, sir. Dr. Hobson.
Morse, can't you tell me now over the phone?
Bones have been pretty well scattered by animals, but we've been able to recover about 70% of the skeleton, as you can see. Pelvis and right femur have been found. Came in within the hour.
Do you know how she died?
It's not a she.
What?
It's a man.
It can't be.
Incontestable, I'm afraid. Mid-30s, Caucasian, about 5'6", slim built, brachycephalic and fair-haired.
How did he die?
Just take a look at the skull. Orbital ridges and forehead all but gone. That was never done by an animal. Someone bashed his face in. They also found a watch. It's been sent to forensic for examination, but I did hear that it was engraved JM. Does that mean anything to you?
Walk around walk around and...
Your main objection, if I recall, to Parnell being responsible for Karen Anderson's murder was the fact that she was single. No boyfriend.
But Myton wasn't her boyfriend, sir. Not in the proper sense.
Well, Parnell didn't have proper sense, though, did he? The way the Chief Constable reads it, and I can't say I disagree with him, is that Parnell comes upon them, the girl in the altogether most like, and the fella... Well, we can't rule out any funny business, can we?
No.
I'm sorry, but all you've done is go round the world to prove Johnson was right in the first place. Parnell murdered Karen Anderson.
If that's so, sir, who killed George Daly?
That's no longer your problem. I'm reassigning the investigation to Johnson.
Johnson?
Chief Constable's orders. It's not the way I would have wanted it, but there it is. You're off the case.
This can wait, sir, surely. He has just buried his father, for God's sake.
Well, I think there's enough bloody grass grown, Sergeant Lewis, don't you? God almighty. You've got a bloody nerve.
Came to offer my condolences, that's all.
This isn't your investigation anymore. Let's have him, Sergeant. Just do it, man.
Him. Philip.
Murder isn't about postcards and tarts in ivory towers, Morse. It's about inadequate, stupid people doing inadequate, stupid things. You're too much of a snob to see it.
I lack your flair for the grotesque, certainly. Arresting at his father's wake.
Well, if you'd have done your homework, you'd have known the boy had form.
A bit of juvenile car crime.
Robbery think he was involved in rolling over 2 farmhouses out at Cowley. The .243 rifle was stolen from one of them. Get the picture?
Hey! You want us to do our job, or do you want to be taken in for breach of the peace?
Do what?
Lewis.
Philip.
Excuse me.
Hey! It's all right, Mum.
Let's take it, Philip, away.
I'll be all right. I'll come with you.
No, you stay here. I'll be all right.
Say nothing, Philip.
Philip! Philip! What's going on? Why are you taking him in?
They think he shot his father. It's not true, I know. But for me to prove that, I need your help.
He collected everything. About the murders. He was obsessed by it. By that girl whose bag he found. He had pictures.
Of Karen Anderson?
Off of her film. Didn't think I knew, but I did. Out in the woods in her birthday suit.
You should have given them to me with the rest.
Yeah, and let the whole world know he'd rather look at some little scrubber than his wife.
Could I see them?
I really did burn them this time. I loved him, you know, once. When we were married, he was a catch. I wasn't going to do any better. All the girls fancied him rotten, and George, he fancied them right back. He didn't keep it to just fancying them, did he? You put up with some things, don't you? Close your eyes to it. But...
Mrs. Daly, I need to try and trace his movements over the last few days before the shooting. Can you remember if he did anything out of the ordinary? Any break in his routine?
No. The day you come, he went off to Blenheim for work in the morning, came home, you came round, then he went out again.
Where did he go?
Ah, Lewis, I wondered... Sorry, sir. DCI Johnson's waiting to resume the interview.
It's important.
Well?
Were there any petrol receipts found on George Daly's body or in the van?
Petrol receipts?
He could claim back his petrol.
Everything was cleared out of his van, bagged and tagged. What do you want his receipts for?
I want to find out which garage he used.
Well, where he bought his petrol's academic, surely. We've got Philip down in the interview room, sir.
According to Mrs. Daly, her husband went out the night before he was shot to fill up the van.
Well, so?
The gatekeeper at Blenheim says he used to get petrol on his way to work in the morning at the same garage. There was some cashier he used to flirt with, apparently.
So you don't think he went out to the garage that evening? Is that what you said?
He filled up in the morning. There was no need to go out again in the evening.
So why do you think he went?
I think he went to Whiteham Woods.
What? God's sake, man!
She's still out there, Lewis. We found Mighton, but not the girl.
There's no one out there but Mr. and Mrs. Michaels, and why the hell should Daly want to see them?
He didn't go to meet them.
Well, who then?
Who was the last person to see Mighton and Karen Anderson alive in Whiteham Woods?
Harding? Oh, no. I'm sorry, sir. I've gone along with this, but you know, first Daly's the murderer, then he shows up dead. Then it was Mighton, now Harding. You know, enough's enough.
Daly knew Harding. Now, if Harding had dumped the bag at Blenheim and Daly saw him do it...
You won't have it that Johnson and me got it right first time, will you? It was Parnell killed Mighton and the girl.
Did Daly have any petrol receipts?
You're no longer involved in this investigation, sir.
You got it wrong. You're about to get it wrong again.
I got it right. That's what you can't stomach. This was never about Johnson. This is about you and me.
You and me?
Yes. I proved myself a decent detective, but you're such a bloody arrogant, self-centered bastard. You'd rather die than ever admit it.
I once thought you'd make a decent detective, Lewis. Given the right encouragement. But it seems you have neither the wit nor the imagination. In that respect, you and Johnson are a well-matched pair.
Well, perhaps it's just as well I'm leaving then, isn't it?
What?
Johnson's offered me a place in his regional crime squad. I've accepted. It means rank now. I don't want to end me days as a bitter old sweat DS.
Well, as you say, perhaps it's time to go. Congratulations. But be careful what you wish for.
How's that?
There's always a price to pay, Lewis. Always. When you and Johnson are snugly installed at regional crime, you might ponder how, when he'd been 6 foot under since July, Mighton was able to pay off his bills in August. Seek and ye shall find. I need to know if he came in here that evening.
Nah, sorry, mate, I couldn't tell you. I wasn't on that day, see?
You have security film, though.
We reuse these about every 7 days, usually. You're lucky. Because if you'd have come tomorrow, it'd have been gone over.
You wanted to kill him, Philip, didn't you?
No.
Why were you late for school?
I've told you, I missed the bus and I had to walk.
No, you cycled out to Blenheim and shot him. That's why you're late.
No.
Where's the rifle?
What rifle?
Well, the one you nicked from Chedborough Farm out by Cowley, you remember?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Why did you do it?
I didn't!
You're close to your mother. Was that him? Knocking about a bit, was he?
No.
Was it you? Was he on your case, nagging, don't do this, don't do that? My dad was like that.
Expect he had a lot to put up with.
Let me, Philip, and I'll bounce you off the walls, son. Boy thinks he's a comedian, Bob.
Can I have a word, sir? A word, please, now. That was an assault just took place in there.
Big boys rules, Sergeant. I thought I could stand on you.
Yeah, but he's not Parnell. He's a kid.
He murdered his father. I can crack him.
No, we're on the wrong track.
What do you mean, the wrong track?
It's Mighton, sir. Mighton's bills.
Mighton.
Who's this talking?
Morse. Look, in August, he pays his let and all his bills off right through to the end of the year.
So?
Well, it would have been damn difficult given that he was dead from the end of July. Someone went out of their way to give the impression that James Mighton was still alive. I think it's time we found out who.
Come back here, Sergeant.
Oh, Sergeant Lewis. You're here on Chief Inspector Morse's behalf, I take it?
Chief Inspector Morse?
He called earlier, asking us to look into how Dr. Mighton settled his account. Took us some time to find, but it appears the sum was paid on his behalf by a friend. The name on the letter says McBride.
McBride?
Indeed. But the cheque was drawn against an account in a different name entirely.
Excuse me! Hello?
Yeah?
Is this time code accurate?
Yeah. Bloke you're looking for was meant to be in the evening, wasn't he?
George Daly came to see you the night before he was shot, didn't he?
No.
How much did he ask for to keep his mouth shut?
I don't know what you mean.
He was blackmailing you.
No, why would he?
He saw you dump Karen Anderson's bag at Blenheim. You wanted something more that afternoon than just poses, didn't you?
No. No.
That's... She broad-minded, but not that broad-minded. What happened at Whiteham Woods?
Well, you tell me, Chief Inspector.
Karen Anderson went to Whiteham Woods with James Mighton to have sex. You felt slighted, jealous, angry.
Don't judge me by your own inadequacies.
You fought with him over it.
No.
You hit him over the head with a stone and you went on hitting him. That was the only way you could have it.
I left them alive and well.
You didn't go back the next day to retrieve your camera lens. You went back to bury the body.
It wasn't like that.
And what was it like?
When I went back, I found Mighton lying there. You can't imagine. So much blood. So much. His face was gone. I'd just been stopped by the police looking for the Lovers Lane killer. He could have been there, watching me. I got out of there as fast as I could.
I don't believe you.
Then charge me.
Where's Lewis?
He's gone home. What do you want him for?
The man you're looking for is the bursar of Lonsdale, Dr. Alan Harding. Daly was blackmailing him.
You're like a broken record, Morse. Does the name Stephen Parnell ring any bells with you?
Listen, Johnson. I'm giving you and Lewis a chance to redeem your reputations. The night before he was shot, Daly had a meeting with Harding to discuss terms.
Oh, go on.
The next morning, he drove out somewhere and met with Harding to collect his money. Harding shot him.
Daly was found at Blenheim, Morse.
But it's not where he was shot. That's why we've never found the bullet.
The gatekeeper saw him arrive.
The gatekeeper saw Daly's van arrive. It drove in behind a tractor. But Harding was at the wheel wearing Daly's hat and coat.
I thought Lewis's variation on a theme was stupid enough, but I've got to hand it to you, Morse. You've trumped it.
Lewis's variation?
Well, you think it's Harding. He thinks it's Michael's.
What?
Some bloody check or other. I thought old Bob had a bit more between his ears, but it turns out he's a bigger bloody fool as you are.
Detective Sergeant Lewis is nobody's fool, Johnson, least of all yours. Good evening, Mrs. Lewis. This is Chief Inspector Morse. Is Sergeant Lewis there? I see. All right. Well, could you ask him to call me as soon as he gets home? Thank you. Good God.
Facts just came through for you and Sergeant Lewis, sir. Result from the lab on the print lifted from Anderson's camera. Girl called Kate Burns. Shot her father when she was 15. Served 7 years, first in a young offenders establishment, later at Cookham Wood.
Give me that.
Get hold of Sergeant Lewis. Have him meet me at the Michaels cottage.
Oh, he's already left, sir.
Yes, I know that, Renton, but he only lives 20 minutes away. He should be home any moment. Keep trying him until
I meant he's already left for the Michaels. He's gone to Whiten Wood.
$243, is it, sir?
What is it you want it for, then?
Routine, Mr. Michaels. Just the one, sir?
Just the one?
Has it been fired recently?
Oh, of course it has. I use it for work.
And it's definitely the only one you've got, sir?
You calling me a liar, Sergeant?
Not while you've got a gun in your hand, sir, no.
Well, you're not going to hold on to it too long, Sergeant. I do need it for work.
Of course, sir. Get it back to you as soon as we can.
Well, if that's all, then.
There was just one last thing.
Yes?
You paid off James Mighton's bills, Mr. Michaels. Why was that? Why would you want to give the impression he was alive long after he was dead? Unless you'd killed him.
I didn't. I don't know who you're talking about.
You killed them both, didn't you? Mighton and Karen Anderson.
Look, mate, I've played a straight bat with you.
You dumped Karen Anderson's bag at Blenheim to frame Stephen Parnell. But George Daly saw you, didn't he?
I don't know anyone called Daly. You don't know what you're talking about. No, Kath.
He knows.
Mrs. Michaels?
No, he don't. He's just...
He knows.
Kath, don't. Please.
I'm not going back.
Look, Mrs. Michaels, I don't know what you think, but that's not going to solve anything.
Shut up!
Give me the gun, Kath, eh? It's over. Not him. Look, Mighton you had to. They'll understand that. He tried to rape her. It was self-defense.
You're Karen Anderson?
I found her in the woods after. I brought her home. It was me buried Mighton. I dumped the bag, too. Hey, look, come on, Kath. I was there for you then, wasn't I? I'll be there for you now.
Where were you when Daly came round?
Daly? You know this bloke?
He saw me at the garage when I went to get petrol. Where were you then? Where were you when Daly came round here?
He came here. What did he want?
What do any of you want? I said you were due home, that he should come back in the morning.
You killed him.
You were standing right where you are now. I didn't think I'd ever get him back in the van. Heavy. Dead weight.
Oh, no, Kath, no.
I had to, don't you see, for us.
Oh, my love. What have you done?
You've got to help me now, Dave.
No, Kath. No, I can't. Not him.
I'm not going back inside.
Just give me the gun, eh, love?
I'm not going back.
Think what we've got. Don't throw that away. Think about our baby.
There is no baby.
Come on, Kath. I've looked after you, haven't I? I'll look after you now.
Turn around.
Look, We've got to go with him, Kath. Just give me the gun, eh?
Turn around!
Kath, think about baby.
There is no baby! Pick him up. Move. Get in. You're driving.
You need help.
Help? I've had enough help for one lifetime.
Mrs. Michaels.
Just dig and keep your mouth shut. All right, that's enough. Put him in. Turn round.
I've got a family. Wife and kids, for God's sake.
Turn around! Have it your own way.
Kate!
Kate?
It's finished.
Sir!
Shut up!
It's all right, Lewis. Listen, Kate.
Kate's dead! Daddy killed her. He called it love. Daddy's special love. He wanted it to be our secret. Don't tell Mum, Kate. I was 10 first time.
Mighton tried to rape you, didn't he?
It's what you all want. You're like pigs at the trough. You're not happy looking, you got a touch.
Did David Michaels never ask you for anything?
He would have let me go back.
Mighton would have been self-defense.
Who'd have believed me? I'd already killed Dad. I couldn't go back there.
Give me the gun.
Just fired one barrel,
Get
sir.
up!
Look at me, Kate. It's over.
I'm not going back.
Then you'd better shoot me. Do it. Do it. Do it!
thought I'd feel something. Anything.
You can feel too much, you know.
Should feel something. I killed her.
She couldn't have gone back. It's probably better this way.
Better.
She's at peace now.
Glass is always half full to you, isn't it, Lewis?
If you can meet with triumph and disaster, sir, and treat those two imposters just the same.
Kipling.
No, All England Lawn Tennis Association. It's written up above the players' entrance. Centre court.
So it is.